Welcome or welcome back. I trust you had a great Christmas and you're looking forward very excitedly to making your goals and plans or probably finishing them up for 2019, which is right around the corner. So as you can see, I'm still in chilly Milwaukee, looking forward to returning to Austin with the new year and hopefully warmer weather. But meanwhile, let's focus back on the 12 habits, the 12 gifts that I believe will bring your company to the next stage. No, I know will bring your company to the next stage in 2019. So number 4 is work orders. When I get to offices, one of the first questions I ask is, how are your work orders? And every owner and manager says, perfect. Oh, they're great. No problem with that. Because of course, number 1, they think they're controlled by the office. And anything controlled by the office is perfect, and they feel somewhat responsibility for that on their shoulders. I'm going to say that 70% of the work orders is the office responsibility, about 30% is the field, especially if you're working with a repeat client base, because if you have those clients for 20, 25 years, which we certainly hope you do, you will go from no children or pets to pets and children, to now grandchildren. And the needs of the home will change throughout that process. Even though your profile sheet never changes, things you clean or don't clean or trade-offs could change. So accurate work orders really go with my theme for 2019, which is communications. The key to success in your company. To continually communicate has to be a habit, minute after minute, and it starts with work orders if you want to set the stage for a perfect cleaning in that home. Your cleaning teams need to know what that client has said to the office. Your cleaning teams need to know what a previous team has cleaned in that home, or what a client has said to them, like, do touch this, don't touch that. If that is not documented, it will clearly cost you a client. The other thing that accurate work orders do is they allow the client to leave the team alone in the home. If your work orders are accurate and your cleaners follow those work orders, then the client knows that they can trust who's ever in the home. And the things they ask for and requested to be touched and not to be touched, and to be opened and not to be opened, and what's on the profile sheet will be cleaned every time. But that is the cleaning process, not the work order, another subject. But there are a few things that are different in every home that need to be documented, and then that client will let you clean it without them being there, and that is the greatest reward of all, right? Anybody who's cleaned homes, especially cleaners, would agree with that. And the other thing is, if they go on vacation, they won't skip, because there's nothing like coming home to a clean home after vacation. But you can't trust somebody to do it on their own if they cannot follow your directions. So, work orders are all about communications, telling the next team what they need, telling the cleaning team or the next team what they need to know. So that clearly requires bilingual, sometimes trilingual work orders. If your office speaks English, Spanish, and Polish, you need this work order in English, Spanish, and Polish. What makes you think that it's valuable for one team to hear it, be able to understand it, but not the next? And no, folks, writing it in 38-point pica when they can't understand the language is not going to make them understand it any better. Now they know there's something really important that they have not a clue what it is. If you're going to operate in a bilingual or trilingual environment, then you need to operate in a bilingual or trilingual environment, which means making everything communicable to all of the languages you are working with. In order for you to communicate to your cleaners and for the cleaners to read what you're communicating, it needs to be inputted. Don't leave your field managers and your cleaners in an undefendable position. I was out in the field one day and the supervisor came running downstairs to tell me all the things we were and weren't supposed to do before I started training. She knew everything anyway, so this did not make me happy. And only to find out that when I asked her, why is this not all on the work order? Because I read every work order before I enter those homes. And she said, hey, I've turned it into the office several times and nobody's ever inputted it. Why would I turn it in again? True? Yes, it was very true. Left me in a very undefendable position and truly left somebody who I would prefer not to have given power to with a lot of power. Then review these work orders. Take out what isn't important. You have to make sure your people are reading these work orders every single time, even if it's a repeat client, because if they call the office to make a change, even though it's a repeat client, you cannot be held responsible for telling every team, hey, there's a new work order statement on Mrs. Jones if you're going to be cleaning 100, 150, 250 homes a day. You don't have time to micromanage. You have to trust that your supervisors will read that work order every single time, even if it is an old standing client. So there are tricks to doing that, but number one is make it valuable. Again, I read things like the kitchen is very important to this client. Well, what, versus every other kitchen that isn't very important? Things like that need to be taken out, and what needs to be left needs to be valuable information. Then if your cleaners aren't reading it, there's little tricks like put in the middle of the work order, call the office and I'll give you $5 and date it. If that team does not call by the end of the day, you know they're not reading their work orders. Now you don't want to do this every week because word will get out right away, hey, she's giving away $5, he's giving away $5. But every now and then when you feel like, hey, they're obviously not reading their work orders again, throw that in there and you get them right back on the ball. This will not happen on its own. You will need to set up a system. There are several ways you can do this. One way is to print out a list of all of your clients. If you only have 60 or 70, this is an easy thing to get under control and a great time to start. If you have 600, it's another ballgame. But I would print out all the names of the repeat clients, and then as the work orders are updated the first time through, highlight those clients until you know everyone is done. If you have a manual system for giving out your work orders, it's very easy. The supervisor simply or solo simply writes on the work order what's new and different, initials it. If nothing is different, they still initial it so you know that they have read it until everybody is highlighted, it's done. And now you just spot check to make sure they're doing it on an ongoing basis. My recommendation is picking a different team every week and spot checking 5 to make sure that some change has gone in there. Or if you can, have them all check every time that it's been updated, but most software systems do not have capabilities for that. You might want to talk to the developers about setting up a system of them checking every time they get done reading the work order every single time they clean that home, because it is that important. So, I hope you put this habit in place. If you do have 600 repeat clients, I would get my field managers involved. They're the ones that should probably be reviewing for the updates, putting the changes into the system, taking out the things that don't make any sense, making them readable and usable and valuable. I promise you, if you implement this, you will save 35% of your cancellations. I spent one afternoon reading Google reviews, and actually 65% of the 2s and 1s came from admin. They did not come from the cleaning itself. Well, as a matter of fact, even if the cleaners made a mistake, they still gave the problem to admin because they didn't like the way the customer service handled the complaint. I know this. I know it's very valuable. Many, many cancellations happen before you ever pick up the telephones. So get on top of those work orders and make it a habit to stay on top of them and bring your company to the next stage. I look forward to talking to you in 2019, if not before. I hope that you put me on your to-do list for 2019 when you put on there taking your company to the next level. I thank you for all the time you've spent with me in 2018 and truly pray that it has been rewarding to you and helped you to move your company forward. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.